welcome to the Behind the Drapes podcast. I'm your host, Expo Rich. We are here recording on the IAEE EXPO EXPO show floor, and my honored guest is Beth Burchill with the AAO NSHF.
H and SF. That's okay. I'm with the American Academy of Otolaryngology Head and Neck Surgery Foundation.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem.
So I knew I was going to mess that up, so I'm glad you came to the rescue.
It's a mouthful.
Yes. No. So thank you for joining me. And I've been running this podcast for a couple of years now, and the format is that I want to learn more about the people that are doing the stuff. Like you, so you are a professional in running meetings, conventions, events,
Yeah.
and you're in a very niche category in medical, and they all come with their challenges and stuff. But before this position, what's the origin story? How'd you get to this spot here? How'd you end up in this crazy industry?
Well, I'm actually legacy in this
Oh.
industry. So my dad was a conference planner for years and years. Took me to his shows. I always say if I could carry something and walk at the same time, I was put to work. So we'll ignore the child labor laws. But so I started working conferences when I was 6, 7, 8, whatever, and just kind of evolved over time. I went to hospitality school. After that, in Penn State, I got a degree from
Nice.
there in, hospitality, event planning, all the things. I worked in restaurants, hotels, a little bit of here and there, and then was able to find a job with a destination management company out of college. So that was a great, got me to DC, got me where I wanted to go. It was great to get those experiences because it touches so many pieces of what an event is.
I think that's maybe why we connected so early, because I also, second generation, my first job was 8 years old on the show floor.
Yeah.
I was emptying waste baskets and picking up stuff.
Exactly.
So,
I was tri-folding pamphlets and
again, ignored child labor laws,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was the one taking my dad's tote bag around to booths and getting all the tchotchkes and doing all the fun stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. So you grew up in it, so obviously it was like an easy, let's just say, exposure because you're around it.
Yes.
And because most people don't have any idea what we do.
Right.
Like, I'm sure you spent a lot of time explaining to people what it is that you do.
Yeah, even growing up in it, didn't realize it could be a major in college. And so kind of went in and was like, I don't really know. And then when a boss of mine was like, well, I was a hospitality major. And I was like, oh, that's an option? I love to do that stuff. I've been doing that stuff. I just didn't realize it was a whole career path that I could follow.
Yeah, it's actually exciting because now college is taking a step further and they actually have mega event planning.
Yeah.
They have trade show and conference classes and things that. So I take part in FIU's School of Hospitality and do education with them as well. So it is nice to see that there's more exposure to it at an earlier age.
Absolutely.
So because most people kind of like land in it, so in one way or another, it's something adjacent or some. But
they fall in it, and it's just a little bit harder. It could be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Let's make it.
Yeah. So it's great for us that next generation of talent now that we can actually have people coming out of college with the idea of being in our industry.
Yeah.
So,
At least a good foundation and some basics.
So you worked for a few different shows throughout, or you?
Yeah. So I worked at a destination management company.
Oh yeah, you worked with DMO.
Then, and then switched to an association. I was with the American Counseling Association for about 7 years, and that was my first foray into the association world. And
what were some of your responsibilities there?
I started kind of at the bottom. I was a meeting coordinator when I first started, so I was doing like the shipping and trucking and staff uniforms and ordering tote bags and all of the the tiny pieces that build the mountain. I was building the mountain, very small rocks at a time, and then kind of moved up and became a meeting planner, and then moved up and then was a senior meeting planner, and then ended up taking a director role a couple of years ago there.
Throughout that career, or throughout that stage in your life, were you doing education like with IAEE or anything like that, CEM or CMP or anything?
Absolutely. So I was involved in IAEE and PCMA that entire time. Got my CMP while I was there, with the credits you get for college. That helped a little to speed that process up a little bit. So I got my CMP right before I got like a promotion there, and then just kind of used that. So absolutely into furthering education. I think these shows are so important for that.
Great. So then you said you spent 7 years there, and then how did you find yourself in your current association?
Yeah, I was taking a break, actually. I left ACA after amazing 7 years and thought, I haven't really stopped since I was 12. I had some really smart people in my life that said, maybe you take a little bit of time. Like, you kind of earned it. Maybe you take a minute. So I took a couple months off and had kind of just decided that week, like, oh, I should probably start looking for a job. I got an email on LinkedIn from an old vendor. And she said, hey, what are you up to these days? Would love to connect. And I was like, I'm at the pool hanging out.
Yeah.
And she was like, great. I have a friend who's looking to fill a position for a company. She'd love to talk to you. I think you'd be great for it. Forwarded her my resume. The next morning had my phone ringing off the hook. Nice. And they said, we've got this show. Their annual's in 8 weeks. We need somebody to come in and help. You don't have to stay after the 8 weeks. You can go, but please come for the 8 weeks. So I said, all right, let's make it work. So I did that, and then they asked me to stay on full time.
Yeah, that's great. You were able to be the hero. And
yeah.
Yeah, because, I definitely see that with companies, organizations. That's like when they don't have that person in there, everyone's killing themselves trying to figure out how to put the pieces together and pull it off. So
yeah, it's hard. When you find yourself in that position, and there's nobody in the room that's been around this, they don't even know where to start. So being able to kind of step in and say, okay, let's go through A, B, C, and D, and get this back where it needs to be in 8 weeks with a tiny team, and let's roll. Yeah. And I was coming off a fresh leg, so it really was the perfect timing for me too.
Yeah, it was serendipitous, right? You're just like
Absolutely.
At the end of your break, your friend calls you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think I had that thought of finding a job on a Monday and had the interview Thursday, and by the next Monday was speaking to their entire staff.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's great. So you said your father was very early, impression on your career and were there any other mentors or people that inspired you along the way, or more about your father? I'd like to hear the people that helped you along the way and pulled you up and inspired you to do this.
Absolutely. I went to Penn State and they had a great mentor-mentee program, but the hotel and restaurant people always got matched very easily. Us event nerds weren't so easily matched with anyone. And so I kind of sat in the woman's office and I said, you are going to give me whoever is in events that is signing up this year. I've got to get a mentor. It has to happen. So I got matched with an independent planner based out of New York. Her name was Lisa Gentile. She's amazing. And she really took me under her wing and hired me for her events that she was doing and introduced me to her clients, and really was like, whatever you want to work with me, you can come work with me and stay with me. And so that's been a 15-year relationship. We still
so
talk.
Cool.
Yeah, I know her family well, and her husband, and her daughter went to Penn State, and they were asking me questions about the new campus.
That's great.
And
yeah.
It was really amazing. So it's a huge piece for me. I've had a lot of some previous bosses that were just absolutely stellar. Their motto was always, I'm making you a bigger, badder planner than me.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I mean, you want the people underneath you to be stronger, right?
Exactly. So Teresa Holmes, one of my old bosses at ACA, was absolutely amazing and influential. Still a great mentor. I still bounce things off of her whenever she's got the time and things like that. So I think this business is so relationship based. Almost everybody you touch ends up being, mentoring you in some way. You're learning constantly. You don't ever stop.
Yeah.
I've learned things this week. I learned things last week. I'll learn things next week. It just doesn't end.
Yeah, definitely. I like to say that too, because I'll have conversations with brand new employees, and I know it's overwhelming their first month there, and there's so much that we do and touch so many things, and I just tell them, listen, I've been at this my whole life and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So don't get overwhelmed, because once you get your reps in, it starts to get easier. But the biggest thing is being familiar and figuring out how to problem solve.
Yeah. I don't know that there's anything that you master certain skill sets, but you don't master the whole profession.
Right.
Because there's constantly something changing, a new issue and a new trend, and it's always new, which is great, which is why we love this business, because it's not so static.
Definitely. So how many years now are you in this position?
Just over a year.
So a year.
Yeah.
So we're rounding off 2024. We're looking at 2025. What is 2025? What's on the horizon that's got you excited about this next year coming up?
Oh, we've got so much change coming. I'm thrilled. I'm a big change believer, maker, lover. So we are headed into a brand new season. We just got a brand new CEO. He started 3 weeks ago. I'm excited to see what his vision for the organization is and where he wants to take us. I'm excited for things that we're changing at our show. We've got a brand new prospectus with a ton more options. We are focusing on some more one-on-one connections for our sponsors and our attendees. We are looking at some programming changes as well, different formats, different styles of education. Some of my staff are really hitting their strides. I'm excited for them and to see how they grow in this new year. So we're really, like as a flower blossoming here a little bit. This next year is going to be really, really fun, I think.
Well, it's going to be exciting to have the follow-up conversation next year when we're here when we're in Houston together.
Yes.
And I could say, how did it go?
Yeah.
So,
what changes were made. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you being on.
Absolutely.
And until we meet again.
Absolutely. Thank you.